Health experts say the COVID Trace app will be a game changer. But for Barnaby Joyce, it's too much of a leap of faith.
I treasure the government knowing as little about me as possible. Australia is doing an extraordinary job of flattening the curve by reason that we are overwhelmingly decent and logical people. We don't need an app to tell us that.
Government Services Minister Stuart Robert isn't having any of that.
Look, Barney, no one wants to know where you've gone, pal. We're not interested. And plus, the app doesn't do geolocation. I'm not interested in where you are on the face of the earth.
The more that it's open and gets tested, the more likely it is people will be able to trust that privacy is being protected in the app.
The government's got that bit covered. There won't be any surveillance or geo-tracking. To prove it, they're releasing the coding that built the app for anyone to check, including
the Australian Signals Directorate, the Australian Cyber Security Centre are involved in the security checking of the app, and we've also invited in the Cyber Security Cooperative Research Centre.
It's not really a particularly new use of a smartphone. Your mobile carrier knows where you are almost all the time, and Google knows where you are and knows the other phones around you all the time. So it's not particularly new in that sense. What's new is that it's being used for public health.
Right now, if you test positive for COVID-19, health authorities work with you to find out who you've been near over the past few weeks before laboriously tracking all those people down for testing and isolation. COVID Trace will speed that process up by days. Using Bluetooth that logs the names and numbers of anyone you've been close to for at least 15 minutes who also has the app. That info is encrypted and doesn't leave your phone. Most significantly, the PM has confirmed downloading the app won't be mandatory, though the government is hoping for an uptake of 40%.
This is a battle for hearts and minds, that it is about trust, and that in order to be trustworthy, it's something you have to earn by being transparent and open and honest.
So with less than 2 weeks until COVID Trace's launch, can Stuart Roberts sway more Aussies to get on board? Well, here's his chance. The Government Services Minister Stuart Robert joins us. What level of privacy can you guarantee if people do download this app?
A substantial level, PVO. We're only collecting the individual's name, a date of birth range, of course their mobile number and their postcode. That's all we're collecting, and it's only for the purpose of doing tracing in case you are in proximity to someone who's got the virus. The data stays on your mobile phone and only gets sent up if indeed you've become positive to the virus or someone close to you. And at the very end, of course, the data's all destroyed. So the privacy levels are absolute.
Minister, I understand that is what you're telling people, but when there's been a $1,650 fine in place for people doing the wrong things in terms of social distancing, do you think that people might be scared that somehow this app will catch them out doing the wrong thing? And so it's not their data so much they're worried about, it's just that they don't want to cop this huge fine they can't afford?
Well, the app doesn't do any geolocation, doesn't do any surveillance. We're not interested in where you are or what you're doing. All that the app does is connects with another app if you're within 1.5 metres for 15 minutes. That's all it is. It's just a health app. It serves no other purpose other than health, and it won't be used for any other purpose other than health. And of course, when the pandemic's done, you'll delete your app on your phone and I'll delete the National Data Store.
I'm not actually concerned about the privacy because it's a voluntary program, but if it's going to be so effective if people take it up, why not make it compulsory so you can get even more out of it?
Because we want Australians to lean into a big Team Australia moment. We want Australians to realise that if we're going to loosen these restrictions quickly and get back to normal life, we need to have greater testing, as the Prime Minister said, greater tracing and, of course, clamp down on clusters. All the app does is digitise an existing manual process, but does it quicker, does it in a matter of minutes rather than days. And I'll tell you what, if it was your mum standing behind someone in a waiting line, you'd want them to get a call from the health professionals to say, hey, you were within 1.5 metres of someone for 15 minutes, come and get tested.
Any chance, if the uptake's not as much as you'd like, to maybe provide a bit of an incentive for people?
I think we'll give Australians a red-hot crack at doing the right thing and embracing on the Team Australia moment. That's the most important thing, and there's no greater incentive right now than getting back to the footy and getting out and about.
Minister, I can't wait to get back to the footy, as you just said. If people don't take this up, have you ever thought about embedding it in TikTok and then people just all have it without knowing it?
Well, I'm concerned people might start doing the TikTok dance, which is fine, but dancing tends to get you in close proximity to other people. So we need social distancing in a very sort of TikTok way.
Well, that's only if you dance well, it gets you closer to other people. The way I dance, they clear out.
Stuart, Robert, we appreciate your time. Thanks very much for joining us.
No problem, great pleasure.
See, I think everybody's natural reaction is, I don't want my privacy invaded. But when I got in the car to come to work today, and the minute my bum cheeks hit the seat, on my phone it said, you will be 7 minutes before you get to Channel 10 today. So Apple, Google know exactly where I am at all times. So my privacy is already invaded.
That goes to why I've actually come around on this, because I'm naturally a bit of a civil libertarian about these sort of things, but we've given up so much already that this app, in the context of the lives that we all lead now, with the level of privacy invasions that exist and we accept, this is a very worthwhile one. You don't need to know that it'll take you 7 minutes to get to work, but the authorities might need to know if one of us does get this, who we've come in contact with.
You're right, Pivio. They already know where our bum cheeks are, so it's important that we help out.
I was worried where that was going, actually.